2014 has been a big year, from record-breaking IPOs to some major mergers and acquisitions. And of course, we've had the continuing struggle for a more stable recovery. CCTV's Tracy Tandon wraps up the year for us.
It was the bell heard around the world. E-commerce giant Alibaba made history this year as it became the biggest initial public offering in the U.S. Founder Jack Ma, China's richest man, and the head of the Alibaba empire.
To be honest, most thought we were just here to raise money. But we're hoping to represent China's economy, its small and medium enterprises, and the country's future.
And from one tech giant to another. In a play to dominate the messaging world, social network Facebook snapped up mobile messaging app WhatsApp for a whopping $19 billion. Stepping into some very big shoes this year was Satya Nadella. The India-born 46-year-old was named CEO of one of the world's biggest tech companies, Microsoft. Nadella is only the third boss in Microsoft's almost 40-year history. It was a big year for tech, and no tech story is complete without the world's largest company by market cap, Apple. The tech giant finally joined the so-called phablet craze by launching the 5.5-inch iPhone 6, the company's first ever phablet. Now, Bank of America broke one record this year. It now holds the title for the biggest banking fine ever. U.S. authorities fined the lender $17 billion for mortgage fraud, which took place in the lead-up to the 2008 financial crisis. And the fines didn't stop there. Bank of America, along with 5 other major banks, such as J.P. Morgan and Citigroup, were fined over $3 billion for attempts to manipulate the currency markets. Shares of Malaysia Airlines took a beating this year as tragedy struck twice. The whole world watched as authorities scrambled to find flight MH370. The plane with 239 people on board disappeared in March while flying from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing.
The Malaysian side, together with Australia, Netherlands, and the other countries, will want to comb the entire area because the area is pretty wide.
Just 4 months later, Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur crashed in Ukraine. The airline is presumed to have been shot down by pro-Russian rebels, killing all 298 people on board. Russian President Vladimir Putin has arguably been one of the most controversial men in 2014. Earlier this year, Crimea joined Russia, a move that Ukraine and its Western supporters say is illegal. The event was not without consequence. The United States and the European Union imposed economic sanctions on Russia, targeting Russian energy, banking, and defense industries.
If this continues, we will of course have to think about how foreign companies work in the Russian Federation, including in key sectors of the economy, such as energy.
As Russia's energy sector continues to deal with the sanctions, oil prices have stumbled the last few months, with Brent crude dropping to a 4-year low. The plunge in oil prices has sent political and economic shockwaves around the world. China's purchasing power was one topic in focus throughout the year. Nothing spells money and power like a little property shopping spree. Chinese buyers have been snapping up real estate across the U.S. this year. The most memorable was the sale of the iconic Waldorf Astoria in New York to a group of Chinese buyers for almost $2 billion. The Russians, the Malaysians, the Chinese, and the Americans all making the biggest business headlines across the world of technology, finance, airline, and energy. Now, many of these players and their stories will continue to have momentum throughout 2015. So until then, Tracy Tandon, CCTV, New York.